I don't know whether any of you has had the misfortune of watching the traumatic speech in the Senate by Embu Senator Munyi Alexander Mundigi. It's causing a lot of conversations on social media. Everyone is just wondering, how did they elect such a clown? How did they elect such a person who seems to lack the mettle, the intellect, the gravitas to be in the Senate? And he'll be debating people like who? Edwin Sifuna, Okiya Omtata. That's why those guys are constantly flooring them. That's why those guys, sometimes Okiya Omtata is forced to go to court, because it's almost impossible to convince his Senate colleagues, because if that's the caliber of people who Mount Kenya people elect, is no wonder, because Mount Kenya, I told you, they have an allergy of intellect. When you are smart and you're in Mount Kenya region, you're profiled, you're made to look like a pariah. Now there they promote, if you look at the churches promote the person who has made the most money in the most queer of ways. They don't value intellect. Any intellect is dragged down. Any person who seems like they have their own brain, you're besmirched, you're maligned by the Mount Kenya community, and it spreads all the way up. You look at what the content that is pushed by the vernacular stations, by Royal Media, by MediaMax. Things like Kameme and Dinoro is just useless gospel comedians, gospel musicians, comedians, people with third-rate jokes. Those are the ones who are celebrated by the community. So there is a deliberate and premeditated attempt to dumb down the region, and it has worked successfully. Because if Busia can elect Okiya Omtata, why are Mount Kenya people electing the biggest clowns? Look at them. They are old boomers who have nothing to offer, spent cartridges. This guy was trying to speak about Haiti. He doesn't seem to understand whether it's the police or the army going. Listen, just take a minute and listen to this travesty done by the people of Embu. And Embu people, you're going to apologize. Just wait.
Bwana Spika, naunga mkono kwa jeshi waende wakapigane ama wakatafute usalama kule Haiti, kwa sababu najua hao watu ni watu wenye unjuzi wa kutosha, ni watu hata Mungu atawapatia baraka. Na pia nataka nikumbushe Senator Okechi, tunakumbuka tulipigana vita na msungu na hatuka tunajua chochote na tukashinda. Na sasa nataka nikuambie hawa vijana wetu wakienda itashinda, kwa sababu nataka nikwambie sio ile vita unafikiria. Ni vita ya ndugu na dada yake na ndugu yake, ni kwenda na wale wamesoma kabisa kuwakalisha watu hii grupu na hii grupu waweze kuja pamoja, wasikizane, waambiwe dunia hii inaisha kwa sababu tunataka tuondoke. Ya pili, nataka nikwambie katika Biblia kuna
I can't play the whole clip, man. I can't. I'll be doing a disservice to you, my esteemed viewers, my esteemed subscribers, to subject you to more torture, to listen to such low grade conversations. How do you elect somebody like that just because he's invoking the word of the Lord occasionally? You see, religion and the language of Mount Kenya region has been used to dumb down that region. Mount Kenya is now just that's why the towns there, they have non-existent life. Because and you will notice every other time all the people who are complaining about alcoholism is always around Mount Kenya, because the social experiment that has been conducted on those people through religion, through vernacular stations, through the political establishment, is through colonialism, the offshoots of colonialism. These guys will never recover. Which is why now it is incumbent upon the Embu elites, the ones in Nairobi, to have a discussion and talk about your home county. You can't be setting standards in Nairobi and then your home county is rotting under the weight of bad governance, under the weight of lunatic elected leaders. Now, if this is a senator you elected, God forbid, what caliber of MCAs do you have over there? This is the biggest rubbish we've ever seen. And let me tell you, there's something about Embu people. You know, there are these stereotypes which you hear. First of all, this Senator Mundigi, first of all, how did he end up being elected? If you look at his biography, he came from the Democratic Party, and then in apparently 1979 he dropped out of school. And then he registered as a private student in 2013. 2013 to 2016, that's when he finished high school. And then from 2018 to 2022, he joined the International School of Ministries, Diploma in Biblical Studies. And then 2019 to 2022, Covenant Theology Seminary, North Carolina. He had a degree in Biblical Studies. Does that sound like somebody who even went to Carolina? These are the degrees people buy, like the one of Sakaja. You can hear this guy is almost like he's never stepped into a school. And then they elected him with such a sketchy biography, with such a sketchy background, all because he was invoking religion. Because if you have religion, you can be able to scam the people of Mount Kenya. You can be able to be elected. Which is why President William Ruto and the UDA regime, they are always flanked by clergy wherever they go to Mount Kenya in their infinite, never-ending Thanksgiving ceremonies. They are always flanked there when they are talking, and then the corrupt clergy are there laughing. Tumbocrats, they are tumbocrats, stealing in the name of the Lord. So the Embu people, we've been hearing stereotypes about the people of Embu, about how, they are greed, about how they don't help people when they come to Nairobi. We've been hearing, but you start putting it in context right now, because there's this guy you keep on praising. He's called Philip Ndegwa. He was a former central bank governor. He has those children who are appointees. He's the one who is praised by the corrupt media that, he's a billionaire. Meet the first Kenyan man, Philip Ndegwa, to bank $1 billion. He was a central bank governor. He didn't have an industry. He was not an inventor. Where did he get $1 billion? He was stealing. He's the one who launched the first scam of export compensation. And then Moi and Kamlesh Patni came to abuse it, but by then he was already making money, compensating himself for non-existent exports. He was claiming that he was exporting I don't know what. No, he was a thug. And then Moi put him in charge of the Privatization Commission, as had been dictated by the World Bank and IMF. Remember, World Bank and IMF want to steal our public assets. That's why they are throwing money at Ruto. Now they have said they are going to give 12 billion between 2004 and 2024 and 2026. And none of that money will go to any project. All that money will go back to their banks, to their foreign banks. So they give money in the name of Kenya, yet they know it's going back to their country. So they used Philip Ndegwa. He was in charge of the Privatization Commission, where now they started, Kenya Airways was turned into a private company, was privatized, Kenya, whatever. All of that process was overseen by Philip Ndegwa and the IMF and the World Bank, and he became so wealthy. And he's from Embu. Does he help the people of Embu? No. So the elites in Embu have a mentality of once they get into power, there is primitive accumulation. It's a marathon. And now they have their governor. Their governor is who? Cecily Mbarire. Cecily Mbarire, there was these unsolicited reforms launched by Rigathi Gachagua, claiming that he wants to reform coffee. Coffee never asked for his reforms. He's pretending that he wants to remove cartels. Yes, cartels exist, but you cannot. Two wrongs don't make a right. So you cannot remove cartels and then you impose yourself as another cartel. You want to be the top cartel. No. It doesn't work like that. So I want you to listen to Cecily Mbarire when she was talking at this forum for reforms and solicited reforms, which have created more problems than solution for the coffee sector. I want you to listen to her just for a minute.
Is it Sukafina, something like that? They mill in the following companies. Newman has a milling company called NKG Coffee Mill. Ecom has a milling company called Central Kenya Coffee Mill. Sukafina has Kahawa Bora Millers, and Ecom again has another one called CMS Mills Limited. The same companies transform themselves into marketers. Ecom has a marketing company called Coffee Management Services.
So she was trying to illustrate the coffee cartels and how they are controlled by a bunch of multinationals. Yes, those multinationals are headed by Muzungu thugs. They are owned by Muzungu thugs. Yes, they are there, but they had created a semblance of order within the coffee sector. And now the ironic thing is that Cecily Mbarire has been, before she became the Embu governor, she has been an MP of Manyata in Embu for the last 20 years, since 2002. She always waits for the last minute and jumps ship. She goes with the wave. She's very smart. I told you this is how some of these people have become cartels, political doormats. You cannot even remove them, because every time they are very smart. They always know. Like now, she was with Uhuru, and then last minute she joined Ruto. Suddenly she's changed, and she's always been rebranding herself. And the people of Embu, due to lack of civic education, they've been hoodwinked like this. Now she was there trying to gaslight the public about those companies, the cartels, the Muzungu cartels. Yes, they are cartels. Yes, they are thugs, but they are licensed, they are taxpayers, they are tax compliant companies, licensed with laws, within the constitutional framework that she has been in parliament. But has she contributed anything? Does her name appear in the Hansard? Has she contributed in any bills, any whatever? Has she ever spoken that thing on the floor of the house? Remember, our politicians, they never speak in parliament. They engage in sideshows. They engage in all forms of shenanigans in the media for cheap headlines. But when they go to parliament, there's just sleeping and farting. Betty Maina, you saw her getting married to Eric Wamumbi, the MP of Madeira. Betty Maina and Eric Wamumbi have never discussed anything. Mount Kenya people know how to select the worst of the crop, bottom of the barrel. What's wrong with Mount Kenya people is because even the elites who are in Nairobi don't want to speak. So Cecily Mbarire, in her speech, in her long episode talking about this clip goes on for 4 minutes. She forgot to mention. Let me tell you something. Because Embu people, they stay together. The elites, when they are robbing and they are looting the country and our resources, they stay together. They are united. You'll never hear them slandering each other. So in that speech of hers, in that monologue of hers, she forgot to mention that the former Embu senator, his name is Njeru Ndwiga. He had been a long-time Minister of Cooperative Development under the Kibaki government. Him and another lady called Ruth Mwaniki, who was then the general manager of Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, KPCU, they were dating. It was such an open affair that everyone in the coffee sector knew it. Ruth Mwaniki was Njeru Ndwiga's girlfriend, and together they destroyed Kenya Planters Cooperative Union. They killed it. She didn't mention that. KPCU was the custodian of all the coffee from the smallholders. With the death of KPCU, it was automatic that smallholder farming, which consisted of 70% of Kenya's annual gross output, it died, it collapsed, because these guys were getting money. They are paid by those same cartels who they are, she's mentioning, she's maligning over there. They are paid, and then they don't send money, they don't remit money to their farmers. So what did Ruth Mwaniki do with the money she stole from KPCU? She went and campaigned and became the MP of Kegumo. So now even the idiots of Kegumo are electing a demagogue who has been behind, because even Kegumo has some sections which has coffee. They elect somebody, their own oppressor, because they are able to rebrand once again back to Kameme and Dinoro, once again back to vernacular radio, once again back to religion. This dichotomy has destroyed Mount Kenya religion, that even they are not able even to think. You saw in Kiambu, Wamuratha, the women rep, Wamuratha can throw cake to them like chicken, and they still elected her. This is crazy, man. It is a big crisis in is a big crisis in Mount Kenya. So now Embu, the same Embu where you've seen that senator talking about Haiti, you'd think that he talks about the devolution is in his county. He's supposed to be discussing that more. You remember when we had the national blackout? You remember when the Kenya Power and Murkomen were behind the national blackout in August, 26th of August. During the blackout, 3 infants died at Embu Level 5 hospital because they couldn't afford to run the generator all night. These are the people who are making noise for us. That's the senator. Did he discuss that in the Senate? No. Did he discuss that the Embu Level 5 hospital is ill-equipped? It doesn't have a generator, doesn't have medicine. No, but they are here making noise, talking about Haiti, because he's been bribed in the toilets of parliament, within the presence of parliament, to promote the Haiti agenda. No, we cannot let this slide. And then what do the elites of Embu, what's your obligation? Because again, you cannot be setting standards in Nairobi You cannot be here telling us what not and whatever, and your home is rotting. So number one, we are going to send a message to Yami Mami Murugi Munyi. Murugi Munyi is from Embu. In fact, I extracted something from her YouTube channel. Let's see her talking about Embu.
Christmas Eve, the 24th of December, and we are just leaving the house to go to my mom's shags. So my mom is Embu, so our shags on my mom's side is Embu. So we are going there to visit today, and it's a really, really special visit because Zach has never been there before, and it's just really exciting. I can't wait to show him like the place where I used to go like all the time when I was a kid. It's gonna be so awesome. We are now getting into the...
You see, she's from Embu. She says she used to go there as a kid all the time. You have a responsibility. You cannot be in Nairobi just chilling and enjoying life as if. And if you're from Embu, then the onus of speaking about corruption in Embu is not on me. I'm not from Embu, but I am disturbed when that guy, because he's a national leader, he's paid with my taxes. He goes to the Senate and blabbers. He just yaps, meandering around without making any sense, making any cohesive sentence. Yeah, and we are wondering, so whose responsibility is it to call out corruption? Now, Murugi Munyi, you have a big platform, you have a big voice. You should be talking about things concerning Embu. I'm not telling you to be political, but this is not those days where people would be aloof, people would bury their head under the sand, because bad governance will affect everyone. Look, your negligence leading to the election of that clown is affecting me, is affecting all the people whose decisions are going to be hinged on his deliberations in parliament. So there's a policeman somewhere who is traumatized at the prospect of being sent to Haiti. He is such an idiot who was elected by the people of Embu because the elites who are in Nairobi are silent. So it's you to step up to the plate. We have who? We have Mwalimu Recho, every time you're just talking about Embu, you're just tweeting about Embu. I've extracted this from your social media handle. You say Embu girl is back. Embu girl who cannot even talk about corruption. Have you been paid by Cecily Mbarira not to mention corruption, not to talk about bad governance? I never saw any of you talking about those 3 infants who died during the national blackout. These are things you should be doing every other day. Have you absconded? Have you turned your back on your home region? It's not my duty. Me, I'm not from that county. But now that he's come on the Senate and he's using my taxpayers' money to talk rubbish, I'm going to weigh in. But even then, I'm going to still ask, where are the elites of Embu? Where are the big voices of Embu in Nairobi? Why are you setting standards? You were traveling around the world, and your county is rotting under the weight of bad governance, poor political choices. This is terrible. If we are going to take over from the boomers, the generation of retarded individuals, the people born between 1940 and 70, we have to be politically conscious and active. We cannot be there just saying, I'm supporting my brand, I'm defending my brand will be affected if I talk politics. No, politics is affecting everyone, whether you like it or not. Now, because we have high fuel prices, aren't you affected? Aren't you affected by the high cost of living? This is your home. This is where you'll be buried. The least you could do is call out the poor political choices of the people. Call out your media colleagues, your people of Kameme and Inoro and vernacular stations, the ones who recycle the guests there so as to dumb down their listeners, the ones who you call out the corrupt clergy, the ones who collect money from the establishment so as to promote the imaginary achievements of the politicians. You see, the responsibility is not mine, it's yours. You are from that area. But once it connects to me, once it gets to my desk that this is the Embu government, I'm gonna call you out, man. I'm gonna call any person who forget about Embu. If your politician does some dumb stuff on TV and I get to see it, bro, I'm gonna call you. If you're from that region, I'm gonna call you out, man. I'm gonna call you out. We cannot continue like this, man. I can't be the one who is talking all the time. I'm just talking about bad governance and guys are just having fun times. As if me, I'm going to be buried in Embu. No, I'm from another county. I have my plate is already full handling corruption issues. But now this story has trended so much that governor, Munyi Mundigi, was that senator was elected. He didn't even clear high school, and then he forged papers from some campus in America claiming that he's done theology. If you listen to him, the kind of theology he's talking about is illiterate stuff for the illiterates. The people of Embu now, you have become too much now. Huh? You are the ones to clear the mess that you created. It's as simple as that.